Hi, welcome back to The Art of Living. I'm Bob Reed. Our next artist asks, why go to therapy when you can make art? And that's a good question, because for Earline Green, making art is therapy. She does it when she's stressed out from work and school. It's where she can remember the past and dream about the future. She's worked hard to achieve a level of inner peace, and it all started from a simple act of rebellion when she was a teenager. Here's artist and educator Earline Green.
My career in art started back when I was making mud cakes on my grandparents' farm. When I was 16, my dad died, and I was eligible to graduate early, and my mother wouldn't let me. So my act of rebellion was to go back to school and take senior English, PE, and all art classes. The quilts are designed to be seen in 3 different zones. A long time ago, when I first started doing the research for this, I felt that students should be able to have a face with the building that they occupy, that they needed to understand that at some point in history, these individuals were important enough to name a building for. My inspiration actually comes from quilters in my family. My grandmother was, both of my grandmothers were quilters, and one of my great-grandmothers were quilters. So my work is inspired by their creativity, although they didn't do it for the creative aspect of it. They did it for utilitarian reasons. So if you stand about 10 feet away from the quilts, you basically see colors, patterns, and the logo. If you move closer, you will begin to see larger images such as the actual plaques from the middle school across the street. I went into each of the schools and did impressions of trophies and tried to get a good sampling of the arts, athletics, music, and drama. The closer you get, the more detail you see. There are things that you won't pay attention to from 10 feet away that you will see at 5 feet away. But when you're right up on it, there's little specific details that pull you into the picture as an individual. When I work through this process, I think the same way as my grandmother thought as a quilter. I use stoneware to create my forms. I meticulously design the quilt patterns based on information. The pieces are laid out pretty much like swatches of fabric, and I cut them up the same way a quilter would to piece together the pieces. The quilts in the background, they are constructed basically of just 8 different blocks per. The school part is 8 blocks and the border is 8 blocks, but the way they're designed, you would really have to sit and figure out the patterns. Being in the moment of creating art is serenity. It's a level of peace that I don't think other people understand. You get lost in the thought. It is the ultimate peace. Why do therapy when you can do art? Because there were some issues in my childhood that I worked out through my artwork. There were some things that I couldn't talk about for many years, but I learned to work through it through my artwork and use symbols to represent the things that were painful. So yeah, it's extremely therapeutic.
Quilts weren't always regarded as art, despite the beauty and labor that went into each one. Made from old scraps of fabric, they simply kept you warm on cold nights. Earline's ceramic quilts don't protect the body, but they do warm the heart. Her quilts not only provide serenity and strength, they continue the legacy of her grandmothers and honor the history of entire communities. But more than that, they sustain Earline's emotional health and help her find new ways to heal old wounds. Stay tuned. The Art of Living will return in a moment.